Hey, what's up, Algebra 2 students? We are looking at 3-17 today, and we're adding and subtracting rationals. We got a ton of examples here, but the first page is pretty easy. The thing to remember is as long as we have common denominators like we do on the first page, we just have to add the numerators and then leave it over the same denominator. So for the first one, we're just going to add 6 plus 8, which is 14. And our denominator is going to be y plus 5. Okay, likewise for the second one, the denominators are the same, 2c. Be careful here though, because the negative sign applies to this whole thing here. Right, the fraction bar, what these fraction bars mean, or what they do, is they're also grouping symbols. Even though we don't have parentheses, they imply parentheses there. So if you want to rewrite it first, distribute this negative sign, that might help. So we're going to say negative 8c. Negative times negative, or negative negative is positive 7d, and then we have plus the stuff on the right hand side. Right, and then we're going to make sure we add our like terms. Negative 8 plus 3 is negative 5c. 7d minus 11d is negative 4d, and we have over 2c. Good. Okay, 3, also common denominators. So we're just going to add our tops. So we have b squared. Well, it doesn't have another b squared in there, so we're going to say b squared. And then we have negative 9b plus 5b is negative 4b. And then we have plus 3. Over b squared plus 3b minus 4. Now see in Alex if that'll be accepted. If not, they might ask you to simplify this further, which means that we're going to have to factor. So if we're factoring the numerator, we're looking for what multiplies to get 3, adds to get negative 4. So that would be minus 3 and minus 1. Negative 1 times negative 3 is 3. Negative 3 plus negative 1 is negative 4. And then in the numerator, we're looking for what multiplies to get negative 4, but adds to get 3. So that would be positive 4 and negative 1, right? Negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. Negative 1 plus 4 is 3. And then we'd cancel out our b minus 1, and then we'd have b minus 3 over b plus 4. So again, just check this one. If that one works, then leave it. If not, then you're going to have to factor and simplify. Okay, on to the next stuff. So this time we don't have common denominators, but what we can do is first thing we want to do if we can is factor. In this case, 3 and 5x don't have any common factors, so we can skip that step. And then step 2, we're going to apply the LCD. So we want to have the 5x multiplied by this side, right? If we do that on bottom, we got to multiply it on top. And then the same thing with the first part, we want this thing to have 5x in it, so our denominators are now the same. But what we do in the bottom, we got to do in the top, right? We're balancing out this fraction. Okay, so what we have here when we multiply it is going to be 5x times 8 is 40x over 5x plus 3 times 3, sorry, is 15x. Then we have on the right side 7 times 3 is 21 over 5x times 3 is 15x. Now that we have common denominators, so common denominators is step 2. Now that we have common denominators, we can add. So we have 40x plus 21 over 15x. Okay, the next one is a little bit more complex because we have binomials in the bottom. We have two terms, right? X minus 6, then we have the x plus 5. But the process is the same, right? So first step, well, we can't factor it, right? X minus 6, x plus 5, they don't have any common factors. So we're good, we'll skip that step. Step 2, so we want this denominator, x plus 5, to multiply by x minus 6. What we do in the bottom, we do on the top. And then the same thing here, we want this to have x plus 5. So now let's write it as 2x plus 5 over x minus 6, x plus 5. And well, at this point, let's just make it one big fraction already. So that's this numerator here. And then we gotta do the second part, 3x minus 6. It saves us the time of writing two fractions with this denominator twice. Okay, part 3, we're gonna simplify this. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna distribute, right? Be very careful of your signs in this step. So then we have 2 times x is 2x plus 2 times 5 is 10. And then 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 6 is negative 18. Our denominator does not change. And then we're just going to combine our like terms on top. So 2x plus 3x is 5x. 10 minus 18 is negative 8. And then we have x minus 6, x plus 5. Our denominator doesn't change. And then we're okay. All right, so it takes a little bit more effort in this case because we have to do the distributive property and then combine our like terms. But the idea is the same, right? We're trying to have the same denominator, so we're multiplying this thing with the right side and this thing by the left side, making sure that what we do on bottom, we also do on top. Okay, next one. So 4 over x minus 4 minus 5 over 3x minus 12. So remember, the first step is to factor. And in this case, we can factor the 3x minus 12 because they have common factors. So the first thing is going to be the same. But the second fraction is going to be 5 over, excuse me, we're going to factor out the 3. What's left over is our x minus 4. Now, in the second step, this one's a little bit easier because this one has everything that this one has. So all we have to do is multiply the first side by 3 on top and bottom. So now this denominator and this denominator are the same. So what we have is 12 minus 5 over, we can write it as one fraction since we have common denominators now. And that's going to be 7 over 3 parentheses x minus 4. Okay, so we did have to factor this one, but it helped us out because we didn't have to do as many multiplications to get to our answer. Okay, now the last one. So this one's a little bit tricky. We have to factor this, and we have to factor this. Now, some of us struggle when we're doing factoring with a number out in front. In this case, we have 3's for both of them. I want to show you an easier way to factor. Some of you guys like to do the box method. If you can do the box method, that's awesome. If you know any other method to do it and you can do it well that way, please continue to do it that way. But I'm just going to show you a way that I found that's a little bit simpler in my mind. So if this works for you, then you do it this way. I think we covered it earlier in the year. But what we're going to do is we're looking for what multiplies to get 3 times negative 8. So that's negative 24. So multiply to get negative 24, but adds to get this middle part here. and adds to get negative 2. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to put our parentheses up here, and we're going to use this leading term 3 in both boxes. So we have 3x and 3x. So the numbers that multiply to get negative 24 and add to get negative 2 would be negative 6 and 4. Right, negative 6 times 4 is negative 24. Negative 6 plus 4 is 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it in our boxes. So we have a negative 6 and a negative 4. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to try to divide. So if we can divide by this leading term in both of these terms, 3x and 6, then we're going to go ahead and do it. So that's going to be 3x divided by 3 is just x, and then 6 divided by 3 is 2. Now the second one we can't divide, right? This one we can't divide. To get a whole number on the 4. Now keep in mind, in any other format we could do just division and we'd have x over negative 4/3. Unfortunately, Alex doesn't allow you to put in negative 4/3. So what we're going to do is we're going to just leave it as 3x minus 4. Okay, so let's do the same thing for the second part. So the first thing, again, we're looking for what multiplies to get this number times that number, which is 36. And that adds to get the middle term, 13. Okay, so for that one, we'd have, what would that be? 36 and 13 is 9 and 4, right? 9 and 4. 9 plus 4 is 13. 9 times 4 is 36. All right, we're going to put our parentheses up. We're going to use this leading term here, 3x and 3x. And we're going to put in our 9 and 4. All right, so let's see if we can divide. So 3 divided by 3 is 3. 9 divided by 3 is, 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So we have our 3 here. 3x divided by 3 is x. On this one, again, we can't divide that by 3. Oh, sorry, this should be a plus 4. I missed my signs. This is a positive 4. Okay, so we have 3x plus 4 because we cannot divide 4 by 3. So now let's do our common denominators here, or let's start to do them. Now this is complicated, but if you're in Algebra 2, you should be able to do it, especially if you're moving on to higher levels of math. So if you can't factor well or do common denominators well, I suggest that you really practice and learn how to do this, because once you get to any higher level than Algebra 2, they assume you can do these things and you can do them well. And if not, you're going to be stuck. All right, so this is our denominator. Let's rewrite this whole thing. So we have 4 over x minus 2, 3x plus 4. And then we have 2 over x plus 3, 3x plus 4. All right, so sorry, I had something that I had to do. I had to cut the video, but back to our least common denominator stuff. So we set up our we set up our denominators correctly, right? So we have these factored forms. Notice that the x minus 2 is unique to the first part and x plus 3 is unique to the second part, meaning they're not shared on both sides. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make this denominator the same as, well, the first denominator the same as the second by doing x plus 3. And we're going to do x plus 3 in the numerator as well, because we want them to balance out, right? We're not trying to change the value of our fraction. We're just making sure that we have common denominators. We're going to do the same thing on the bottom one, so we have to have that x minus 2 in the second one. And what we do in the bottom, we're going to do on the top again. So now what we have is, let's go ahead and distribute since we're running out of room. So we have 4x plus 4 times 3 is 12. Plus 2 times x is 2x, and then 2 times negative 2 is negative 4, And our denominator now is x plus 3, x minus 2, 3x plus 4. Now last step is we're just going to do our like terms. So we have 6x, 12 minus 4 is positive 8. Oh, we're running out of room here. Let's change colors. Notice that 6x plus 8 now, they have common factors. We can factor out a 2, so we're going to go ahead and do that because I don't think Alex is going to accept this. If it does, then awesome, leave it. But if we factor out a 2 from 6x plus 8, 6x divided by 2 is 3x. And then 8 divided by 2 is 4. And you notice here that that's the same as this one on the bottom, so it's going to cancel out. So x plus 3, x minus 2, 3x plus 4. I know this is a lot for one problem. We can cancel those. So in the end, the simplest form would be 2 over x plus 3, x minus 2. All right, I know it's a lot. Try your best, but if you can do this, then you should be pretty comfortable with being able to add and subtract your rational expressions. This is like necessary to get to higher levels. So again, just make sure you work on it and do your best. Try to get really good at it. All right, good job.